The playoffs are the time of the year when legends are made, history is written, and the best basketball is played as stars take on the challenge of rising to the occasion while trying to lead their teams to the promised land. They're also the time when some of the biggest surprises of each season take place, with a few of these coming in the form of teams and star players either exceeding expectations or underperforming on their way to an early exit. But while most of the attention is focused on the established stars of the league, the postseason also provides a chance for unexpected players to make a name for themselves by making a huge impact on their team's playoff runs. Welcome to Courtside. Today, we'll take a look at 5 of the best and most surprising stories to take place during the 2020 playoffs. Number 1. Goran Dragic. While the Miami Heat got prepared to start its playoff run, it was clear that their success would depend on the following 3 elements: the play of their 2 stars, Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo, the contributions of their supporting cast, and the coaching of Erik Spoelstra. As Butler and Adebayo had provided an excellent effort during their regular season, and Spoelstra had already guided 2 championship teams in the past, there were not many questions surrounding them. However, there were some doubts regarding whether the rest of the team, made up of overlooked veteran players and untested youngsters, would be enough to help the team go deep into the playoffs. These questions were valid considering that Miami finished with the 5th seed in the East. Only 7 of their players had previous playoff experience, and their offense relied on different players taking a turn to provide scoring from day to day, which is more difficult to do in the postseason. But as soon as the playoffs got going, these doubts received an appropriate answer as the Heat's supporting cast not only kept on producing good numbers, but also provided the team with an unexpected 3rd star. Dragic, who was moved into the starting lineup, opened up Miami's run with 24 points in Game 1 against the Pacers, as the team won that game without too much problems. Then, as the games progressed and the Heat kept on winning, it became clear that the Dragon had regained its all-star form and that his impact was key in his team's success. After 9 games and 2 series wins, the Slovenian was the team's second leading scorer as well as its leader in assists, with averages of 21.1 points, 4.7 assists, and 4.4 rebounds per game. His leadership and previous experience was also a factor for the Heat, as they mounted several comebacks and held onto the lead in multiple late-game situations on their way to a playoff-best 8-1 record after 2 rounds. Now, as he attempts to make his first NBA Finals appearance, it has become clear that the point guard remains as good as he's ever been, and that his impact will continue to make a difference for Miami as long as their season goes. Number 2, Kyle Lowry. Not long ago, Lowry was considered as a player that would always choke whenever the stakes were at the highest, despite his all-star credentials, and who was not good enough to help his team win in the playoffs. This reputation came from the fact that he and DeMar DeRozan often underperformed during their time together in the playoffs and couldn't carry the Raptors past the conference finals, despite them being one of their best regular season teams. And while he managed to improve his postseason production, it wasn't until Toronto became champions in the last year that he started receiving consideration as one of the league's elite point guards. This helped him guide his team to another excellent season as the Raptors remained as one of the league's best teams despite the loss of Finals MVP Kawhi Leonard. Still, despite Lowry's excellent performance and leadership during the regular season, it was expected that the heavy lifting would be made by Pascal Siakam, who had become the Raptors' best player, as well as Fred VanVleet, who had emerged as their 3rd best player. But while VanVleet was able to live up to the expectations and even exceed them, Siakam couldn't produce at an all-star level once the playoffs started, which forced Lowry to take more of a central role in the team's offense. So when Toronto faced elimination in Game 6 after falling behind 3-2 in their second-round series against the tough Celtics team, the point guard showed why he was the heart and soul of the defending champions. The Raptors needed an offensive leader, and Lowry answered the call by posting 33 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists, and a double overtime thriller, in which he reminded everyone why he was considered as one of the greatest Raptors of all time by helping his team force a deciding Game 7. And though they would end up losing the series in a close one, the Raptors must surely have been pleased by their point guard's surprising performance through their postseason run. In any case, we're grateful that his effort helped to produce what has been arguably the best series in the bubble playoffs so far. Number 3, Marcus Smart. Smart's play has never been the prettiest, but his effort, especially on the defensive end, has helped him become the longest tenured Celtic, and much like Lowry, he's now regarded as the heart and soul of his team. Still, his role has often been that of the 6th man that can provide solid scoring off the bench as well as lead the team on defense whenever he's playing with the starters. This was supposed to continue throughout the playoffs, but after Gordon Hayward was lost to injury in their opening game against the 76ers, some changes had to be made and Smart was inserted into the starting lineup. His role wasn't supposed to change that much as he still needed to provide scoring, though in a much lesser role, as well as covering the opposing team's top offensive threats and making sure that Boston's defense was at its best when he was on the floor. Still, the expanded role helped him have an impact on his team like never before, as he was able to help the Celtics be the playoff leaders in defensive rating, points allowed, opponent shooting percentage, and opponent three-point shooting percentage throughout the first 2 rounds. But his excellence wasn't limited to the defensive end. In the second-round series against the Raptors, Smart had a huge impact on offense as he averaged 15.7 points, 6 rebounds, and 5.1 assists per game. His three-point shooting percentage also increased from 13.3% in the first round to a team-best 39.3%. All of that was accompanied by the hustle that characterizes him as a player, and that is so important to his team. And while the Celtics won't need Smart to be their best defensive player as they look to make it past the conference finals, the effort, winning plays, and overall production that he provides will have a huge impact on how far they can keep going. Number 4, Anthony Davis. Don't get us wrong. Anthony Davis is one of the best players in the NBA. His regular season production proved it once again, and we're fully aware of that. However, there hadn't been serious expectations for him in the playoffs before. Of course, those expectations changed at the very moment he was traded to the Lakers to join LeBron James and form one of the most dominant duos in the league. But while Davis proved to have excellent chemistry with his new teammates and helped the Lakers become the first seed in the Western Conference, there were many doubts regarding how he would perform during the postseason. The Brow had only been to the playoffs 2 times before and had only advanced past the first round once. He was never expected to have deep playoff runs, much less to contend for a championship. And this made many people wonder whether he would be able to live up to the hype that comes with playing for one of the title favorites, especially once the finals rounds gets going. But up until this point, the big man has been as good as expected and perhaps even better. During the first 2 rounds, Davis averaged 29.2 points, 10.9 rebounds, and 4.1 assists per game, while helping his team regain the dominant form that seemed to be lost during the seeding games. With him leading the way on offense, the Lakers have looked like the team to beat as they defeated both Portland and Houston in 5. He's also been the leader of a defense that's among the best in the league, has finally embraced his role as a small ball center, and his overall impact has helped take part of the burden out of LeBron's hands. If he continues to play as one of the best players in the NBA, there's no reason to believe that the Lakers won't be taking the Larry O'Brien Trophy home in a few weeks. And number 5, the Denver Nuggets. You could say that we're cheating by including a whole team on this list, but the Nuggets have at least 3 stars that deserve consideration and need each other to be successful, so we thought it'd be better if we talked about them as a whole. Denver is arguably the greatest surprise of the playoffs, and that has been possible thanks to the play of Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, and the coaching of Michael Malone. And sure, they were the second seed last year and as well as for the better part of this year, and they also finished only a few points away from the conference finals in the last playoffs. But still, no one expected them to be this good this time around. Their first-round series against the Jazz became famous because of the absurd offensive numbers that both Murray and Donovan Mitchell were putting against each other at first, but it later became special as they were able to overcome a 3-1 deficit to move past the first round. In general, a single such comeback is more than enough for a playoffs run, but it looked like the Nuggets didn't feel the same way. After being matched against the title favorites Los Angeles Clippers in the second round and again falling behind 3-1, we all thought that it was only a matter of time before they were sent home. Then, history happened. What could be classified both as a massive collapse and as one of the greatest demonstrations of resilience in NBA history resulted in the Nuggets becoming the first team to overcome 2 such deficits in a single playoffs run. And they did it by taking down a heavyweight Clippers team that had the reigning finals MVP, a second two-way star, 2 of the best bench players, and arguably the deepest roster in the league. Now, they will head into a match against the Lakers in the conference finals, and while it's probable that no one will consider them as favorites to win that series, they made it clear that they believe that they can do it and will give them their best effort to try to make that happen. While every year the playoffs come with a few surprises, the ones present in this year's edition have made them arguably one of the less predictable and most exciting in recent years. And now, there's only 4 teams remain. We hope that the following rounds will provide us with even more surprises and moments that can go down as some of the best in NBA history. But what about you? What has been your favorite story in these playoffs, and who do you have winning it all? Let us know in the comments. We hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you did, remember to like it and subscribe to our channel for more NBA content. We are Courtside.